roar to Monstro Mondays. I'm your host, Smiley Monster, and if you are feeling the Monday blues, I'm here bringing the pink. So let's get the party started. Don't forget to subscribe, give this video a like, ring the notification bell, and drop some love in the comments. We're all here to get rich and have fun, right? Right? Well, we also want to stay safe. We don't want to be scammed or rugged or have our wallets drained. But you know what? We are actually making security decisions all the time. And if we aren't paying attention, it could go bad. So let me give you a couple examples here, right? Okay, so a friend tells you about a new crypto project called Moonrocket that promises really great returns. And they say it's a pre-sale and you have to get in early. And there's this limited window to invest, and they send you a link to the project's website. So should you invest? Well, before you invest, you really need to do your research, DYOR. So make sure you check out the website. And is there a white paper explaining the technology? And who's the team behind it? Is there a legitimate website or just a landing page? And is it possible to provide those kind of returns? Check out and see if that's even possible or if it's some kind of crazy number. And be aware of these people who are telling you that it's a limited time offer or there's a lot of pre-sale pressure. Sometimes those tactics are used in scams. And then look, are there even misspellings, grammar errors on the website? Do the numbers not add up? Check it out before you research, or when you research and before you invest, okay? Here's another scenario, right? You receive an email that looks like it's from your crypto exchange, and it warns you of suspicious activity on your account and tells you to click a link to verify your login information. Should you click the link? No! Phishing emails are such a common way for hackers to steal your login creds. So here's what you do instead. First of all, don't click the link in any kind of suspicious email. Go directly to the exchange website through a trusted source, like maybe you've bookmarked it before, or you type in the URL yourself. And then once you're there, change your login creds for the exchange, okay? Or here's another scenario. You've decided to invest in a crypto that you like, you think it has some great long-term potential, and your exchange holds your crypto, right? And you've heard about hardware wallets offering more security, but you have to pay for one. So should you keep your crypto on the exchange or transfer it to a hardware wallet? Well, this is going to depend on your own risk tolerance. And this is what I was told. If you have more than $100 or you have more than you're willing to lose, then buy the hardware wallet, right? I mean, storage on an exchange is convenient, but exchanges can be hacked. And a hardware wallet offers pretty much the highest level of security, but you have to know how to work the thing, first of all, and it has a cost. So if you have a lot of crypto or you have some that you want to hold for a long time, a hardware wallet is a more secure option. So I was talking to Big D, our Monstro Guardian this week, and he said that there are a few things that can make us more vulnerable, like forgetting to bookmark those sites that we use all the time. Hey, we've been there. And then accidentally you're clicking a suspicious link because you got lazy or you thought it was a trusted link. Better use the bookmark sites that you know are trustworthy. And whitelisting is crucial. Imagine accidentally sending your precious crypto to the wrong address. So whitelist those wallets that you use most. And then have you heard of security extensions like WalletGuard? I use WalletGuard, and it might not stop every single threat, but it gives you a chance to double check what you're doing before you hit send. And that extra pause might be the difference between keeping your crypto and, get the picture. Now, transacting on a mobile is kind of scary. Mobile wallets often lack the security features of desktop extensions, and let's be honest, some of them are really clunky. So it's best to stick to a desktop setup if you can for those important transactions, the big ones, right? And then finally, he suggested that examine your wallet health regularly. Check it out. He does, I think, every couple of weeks. Look for any suspicious approvals or contracts that might be compromised. And if you see anything sketchy, revoke that access fast. And those are great tips. Thanks, Big D. And if you're over in our socials, say hi to Big D and thank him. He's always taking care of us. He's always setting things up to keep us safe and secure. And we appreciate that. Moving on, let's talk about the sponsor of today's episode, which is Raza's Rustic Retreats. Tired of checking your charts 24/7? Are you refreshing X constantly for the latest drama? Are you explaining DeFi to your family over and over and over again? Well, introducing Raza's Rustic Retreats, the only place where your biggest concern is sunburn, not rug pulls. And you can finally disconnect and reconnect with nature. Well, and maybe Wi-Fi for essential DCAing. And artisanal farm-to-table ramen is guaranteed to soothe your soul and maybe your wrecked portfolio. They have all kinds of activities like Zen crypto gardening, where you can learn the ancient art of hodling while nurturing real-life vegetables. They have NFT nature walks where you can spot the hidden digital art installations amidst the breathtaking scenery. And get this, campfire coin chats where you can share stories and maybe alpha under the stars with fellow crypto enthusiasts. Yes, Raza's Rustic Retreats, because sometimes you just got to get off the blockchain. Limited spots available. Don't miss out on the next pump to tranquility. Thank you, Raza's Rustic Retreats. Now it's time for Monstro Moolah Madness. We just celebrated our 29th weekly payout made up of all the earnings from Wednesday, February 28th through Tuesday, March 5th. These payouts are in USDC on the BSC chain, and they include both Lazarus Pit bonuses and Cycle C bonuses. And we made $68,943.40, and that went to 793 recipients, an increase of 93. Guys, we are growing. So 88.44% of that goes to the holders, and 11.56% goes to the treasury. So if you are a Genesis or a Cycle B or a Cycle D holder, you made 5.03% this last week, and Genesis has already ROI'd once. We are ready to retire Cycle D as well, and Cycle E is coming out soon. If you're a Spooky holder, you made 6.03%. And then DGens, for their unit, they made $6.29 USDC. Remember, that Cycle C is a little bigger because they get the bonus share from the new Cycle D sales. And then now Cycle D is going to be getting that bonus from the Cycle E sales. Boy, that went quick, right? Genesis bonus from DGen's claims tax is still pretty small, so we're going to carry it over till next week. Okay, guys? Now, Blobby is coming. We just want to inform you, if you didn't see the announcement, liquidity is pretty much drained from phase 1.5, but we've been keeping deposits reinvest open for those who want to increase their unit counts for Blobby or boost their owed balance for those who are going to be going to phase 2. So some may also want to revitalize 1.5, so there's still time you can put some BNB in there. But warning, be advised that with the absence of liquidity, any fresh BNB deposits might not be recoverable. So check out the risks, know what you're doing before you invest, okay? And if you're planning to leave phase 1.5, just click that Jump to Phase 2 button anytime you want. It's at the bottom of the DGens page, and that will reset your stats and you'll receive a phase 2 NFT. Now, if you are interested in Blobby, that's going to be coming with a window of time where you can still join into Blobby even if you've already joined into phase 2. Okay, so don't freak out. Don't worry. We're doing a lot of things. We've got a lot of products and stuff going on behind the scenes, but we're going to try to get Blobby out to you by mid the week. Okay. So hopefully in just a few days. So keep an eye on announcements. And I love this part. V is considering hosting a town hall to discuss, how did degens go? The highs, the lows. What'd you guys think? Because I love this team. They are always open to feedback. They want to know what the experience was for everybody. What did you like? What didn't you? What was easy to understand? What wasn't? So if you're interested in that, head on over and mark it on the announcements. There's an emoji reaction mark that you can just click on, and then you can let everybody know that you want to participate in that town hall too, or at least come check it out and listen. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so moving on, I want to talk about who is Monster of the Week. This week's Monster of the Week is Stud. Check him out. He is more than just Monster of the Week. He is an example of what makes Monster special. He's always friendly. He's always helpful. He's always ready to lend a hand, or maybe that's a fin, a flipper with a smile. He knows a lot about the Monstro products, and he is a great resource if you have a question. If you've been around a long time or you're just starting out, Stud's always there to kind of give you a guiding, clear, friendly answer, okay? But he's also more about information. He cheers us on. He's always bringing a smile to our face or a funny meme. He's got a great personality. And so we are beyond grateful that he is part of the Monstro family. He embodies the spirit that we want to embrace, that monster love for each other and support. And we can't wait to see what he does next. Thanks, Stud, for being you and being our Monster of the Week. Now it's time for Token Tingles. Welcome to this week's Token Tingles. We are picking our token picks of the week that give us those exciting vibes and tingles down our crypto spines. It is the place to be for the juiciest and most thrilling tokens. Hi, V. How are you?
I'm good. Late morning today, but we're rolling. We're getting things going. So.
Oh, good. I'm happy to hear it. So let's see how our tokens are doing. First up, we have Team V, and Teddy Bear is up 78.83%. Win is still down 77.75%.
Not much winning going on there.
AKT, though, is up 120.06%. Check out the numbers. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Rose is up 44.84%. 2CC is up 24.93%. Oops.
I totally forgot about that one and didn't look at it ever again. But
Filecoin is up 29.77%. And then Crazy Bunny's down, but not too much, 7.51%.
And I know a little alpha that I think the bunny is going to be listing some places this week. So.
Oh, how exciting.
That usually gives coins a little pump. So.
Right. Just you need the pump till April.
Yeah, I think, usually listing pumps are kind of a one-day thing. But
well, take it. Now, if you're on Team Smiley, Factory is back up 31.62%. Ape is up 61.45%. XNL is up 65.25%. Walk-in is up 36.10%. PBX is just up a little, 2.01%. Miria is up 11.46%, which makes me happy because that's the one I picked without anybody's help.
Mm-hmm.
And then RVF is up 10.26%. So yay, back up again.
You don't have a single negative on your list.
I know. Well, it's weird. They go up and down,
Mm-hmm.
And then Team Guest, AJ's Goat is up 69.70%. Nate's Woolly is still down 57.24%. Ben's Sharks is up 145.95%. Coach is Slayer is up 69.72%. Maddie's Riva is up 33.04%. And then BioFi made this big leap like 2 days ago. It's up 63.10%. Remember, it was down 30%.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
So I guess the the condolences go out to poor Nate there. He's the only negative from Team Guest. And funny enough, that's the only token on that list I have a little bit of.
Oh no. Well,
yeah, I guess I followed Nate into the depths.
Okay, so what did you pick for this week, V?
I have gone this one. I'm gonna share the credit with Adam Tilting Shock because it was originally his find on Twitter, and we started providing liquidity for it, and then looked into it a little more. So we think it'll be a pretty good one. It is called Portal, and Portal wants to be, one token for many games to integrate, so that they share a token as opposed to each launching their own. And they have some big titles out. Their recent announcement was Dota. I don't remember if it was Dota 2, but Day of the Ascension, which was, I guess, a massive PC game. I am not a PC gamer. But that was a massive title. So they've announced already that that's one of their titles that's going to use this token. So with the GameFi narrative coming up, I think this one, I don't know if it'll boom enough in, the number of weeks we have left here, but definitely into the bull run. That's one that it's only at 500 million market cap right now. Easily can be like a 5 to 10 billion one or plus, especially with the level of titles they're bringing in and, the people behind it. So yeah, that's going to be the pick for this week for Team V, courtesy of our Monstro co-founder, Tilting Shock.
Yay, so you know who to blame if it doesn't do well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then mine, I picked OPSEC. And let me pull up. You could just see the little picture there. But basically, the reason why this one is interesting because it's a decentralized computing company. So they have three main products. They have a Cloudverse, which is like this big network of computers that anybody can use to run their projects or store data. And they have a special virtual computer that is supposed to be really powerful for running things like blockchain apps. And then they have an offset network. This is like their new way, they say, of using AI in a decentralized network. And so some of their key features that I looked up that they have is they have decentralized GPUs, which are graphics processing units. Then they have a whole network to make blockchain networks even faster and more secure and more flexible. And then they have developer tools. So this is interesting to me because they have a way of, they have pre-built AI components and special software that developers can use for whatever they need to do to build apps. So I thought that was interesting. And then right now their token is at $1.5537. And so I just thought that was an interesting one, and I would love to see it run ahead of time. So it keeps my portfolio up.
Well, I know there's a bunch of upfront guys who hope it runs with you because I've seen them discuss it quite often. So I guess you'll all be happy if it runs.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too. I mean, for storage, that's something I think that's going to be greatly needed coming, as more and more people get into this space and develop different things, and then the software and the technology grows. So I'm just going to follow that one for myself.
Yeah. All right. How many weeks do we have left now? Like 6 or 5?
I didn't count. You got me.
We'll let you know next week on Monstro Mondayz.
Yes. And we'll give you an update on the standings and who's winning as well.
Yeah. So just in case anyone's wondering, the average of all our picks would be our score because we're assuming that we put the same amount of money in each of them, even if we didn't actually put any money in any of them. Well, we may have. I mean, I have some of the ones I picked, like Little Teddy Bear. But yeah, we will just average it out as if we had put an equal amount in each. That would be the fair way to get a good value, I think.
Exactly. Right. And then you better stay tuned for the last episode to see what terrible torture V has for me.
Well, I don't know if I'm winning because of win. So we'll see.
Wouldn't that be ironic?
Come on, Drake, help a brother out.
Okay, sounds good. Can't wait to see what happens.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.
You too. And just to give you an update, Win actually, since I checked the price, started running. It's up 47.81% over the last 24 hours. Go V! Hopefully that will redeem his portfolio. Now, I'm very excited to announce that my special guest for this week is JP from IOC. My special guest today is JP with Intelligence Onchain. Welcome, JP.
Well, welcome to me. Yes, thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to people in this space.
Oh, great. Thank you. So I'd always like to start off with a game. Are you up for a game?
Always.
Okay, this is a word association game. So I will say a word, and then you just say the first word that comes to your mind, but don't overthink it, okay?
I'll try.
Okay. The first word is obfuscate.
Crime.
Black hat.
White hat.
Ooh. Esoteric.
Ooh, good one. Good one. That's what came to mind. Yeah.
Okay. Bootleg.
Strap. Don't know why. Bootstrap. Yeah, there you go.
DYOR.
More often, please. Yeah.
Yes. Ghost in the machine.
Awesome.
Scam.
Bad.
Layer.
Which one? 1, 2, or 3? There we go.
Justice.
Law.
And cookie.
Tracker. Gives you some insight into what I do every day, I guess.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I usually introduce each of my guests with a short biography, but I couldn't find anything about you. Why is that? And what would you like people to know about you, if anything?
Sure. So, I mean, a while back, I was relatively doxed, so to speak. I've always used the alias JP, but actually, the reason why is because what I do is hunt bad guys, and those bad guys often have lots of resources, and we're talking millions of dollars, and in stolen loot and things like that. And frankly, my wife said this is very dangerous. So the reason why I don't share too much information about myself is to protect me and my family.
Absolutely. I think that makes a lot of sense. So
yeah, so a little bit about me. I have a background in engineering. I've always been a problem solver. I have a job right now, IRL, in a large, well-known company in global transformation, whatever that means to you. But I'm kind of like Batman on an evening where I look for, I look for the breadcrumbs, the trails of, bad actors once a crime has happened.
I love that. He is my very favorite superhero. And the reason why is he doesn't have any superpowers. He just uses his brain and his tools to help other people. And I can identify with that because any of us can do that, especially here in crypto.
Absolutely. I'm not incredibly rich, though. So that's the one difference for sure.
So Batman without Bruce Wayne, right?
Yes, yes.
So why don't you then instead tell everyone listening an overview of Intelligence Onchain and what that is and what your mission is there?
All right. So Intelligence Onchain, actually it originally started as a different name. But yeah, IOC, as it's known for short right now, is essentially a research and investigations company. The company behind it's a slightly different name, again, just for protection's sake. But yeah, it's a company based here in the UK. And initially, it started out just because I wasn't able to go into a project back in the last bull run and ask questions of a project that I really wanted to know the answers to without getting accused of fudding or the clown emojis coming in, and I just thought that's not right. Like, people should be able to ask questions you know, and gain a normal, mature response back, you know, and that wasn't the case. So I set out just initially researching projects just to really, out of curiosity, understand what they are and how they work. And then very quickly opened my eyes to a load of risks. I don't know if you was around, but like in December 21, it was known as Rugcember, and there was just rug pulls happening left, right, and center. And yeah, I was just a little bit surprised, like how people weren't able to see some of these things happening or about to happen. Because when you look on chain, if you know how to look on chain and in some of the locations, smart contracts and things like that, you see just how centralized things are, especially in DeFi. And it clicked in my head that people aren't necessarily as technical as I am, and therefore they don't know where to look or how to look or what things mean. So I just set off sharing knowledge, sharing information. And then when you get to a certain level and understand what's happening on chain and understand, you know, the transactions and really what's going on under the hood behind a project, you then get really good at sort of following where funds go. And so that developed into a skill as well. And then since then, I mean, that was what, 21, we're now in 24. So 2.5, 3 years, something like that. But now we're in a great position. We've got lots of partnerships with analytics companies, with, for example, BlockSec, Blin Analytic, and frankly, you know, I think the capabilities that we have now, I think, are really, really impressive. Of course, we can't help everybody, but we do get a lot of private clients come to us and request support for lost or, well, stolen funds, let's be honest.
Right.
And yeah, so we do a lot of work there. But moving forward, you know, the vision that I've set out for the company, really it's in my head right now. It's not really down on paper so far, but unfortunately, this space is full of risk, and I see the area of crypto that I'm in, unfortunately, becoming bigger over the years as more people get into it, as adoption increases, so will the crimes. And so I want to be here to help people as much as I can. Yes, it's a company, I get that, and you can't operate without, you know, some funding that comes in for these sorts of things. Otherwise, it just takes your life away. So yeah, the vision really is we're building Armored right now, which is an end-to-end security suite for projects, where we are proactively looking to get into work alongside some of the projects to really improve their security, to prevent these things from happening at a larger scale. Because if you can prevent that, then you prevent a lot of heartache for individuals as well. But yeah, I think we've got a pretty big future, bigger than I'm letting off right now. And to be honest, if you was to ask me 2 years ago, where would we be in 2 years' time, I would not have even imagined we'd be where we are today. Things are progressing pretty quickly, and you know what? It's so bittersweet, because in one sense it's really nice that things are growing, but in another sense that means that people are getting scammed more often. So do you know what I mean? It's a really awkward, and it's not a nice feeling, but at the same time I'm glad that I'm here to help people.
No, I agree. And as it grows and grows and gets bigger, your services are going to be needed more and more often. So what's the procedure if someone feels that they've been scammed or rugged and they think they might have enough evidence? Can they just approach you? How do they contact you to enlist your services?
Yeah, well, the more common method, there's probably two which are the easiest. Of course, in Web3, there's a lot of people on Discord. If you're in Discord, you can come into ours, you could just raise a ticket and then we'll pick it up from there. If you're not, because a lot of people are not in Discord, never even heard of it, you know, they can go to the website intelligenceonchain.com, and there is right at the bottom of the homepage is a report a scam form But also there is a open a case button right at the top of the page as well. So you can open a case, we'll respond in 24 hours. The first thing that we'll do is we'll assess the case. We'll take a look. We'll try to analyze what sort of obfuscation has happened thereafter. But also it's important to know the whereabouts of the victim as well, because jurisdictions can either be an aid or you know, a roadblock in many cases. So
Right.
yeah, we need to find that out.
So do you have to go in with the attitude of innocent until proven guilty, and you have to add up as much evidence as you possibly can before you can present it to authorities?
My mind's stuck on the innocent till proven guilty, because most of the time
Mhm.
when people approach me, something bad has already happened, right?
Right.
And well, the process of that is relatively simple.
Mhm.
You know, it really takes a few key steps. Number one is, what I'll do is establish in my head what's happened. You know, we'll follow those those assets on chain, see where they end up. Often they go into mixers, which can be a pain, but at the same time, we've got some great capabilities now that can essentially see through the mixers in some cases, not every
Oh.
case, but
Mhm.
you know, it's certainly much more improved. We used to do it
Mhm.
manually, for example, and that was a
Oh.
pain, but yeah. So we look to see where assets go, and
Mhm.
then typically they end up on an exchange, right? Or well, there's a couple of different examples here. So you can have like a theft that's happened that pretty much goes straight to an exchange. I've seen that many times, which is odd,
Mhm.
but it happens. That's pretty black and white, right? The funds have ended up in the exchange. The exchange potentially may freeze the assets. If not, then we need further information, like what happened then. Did it off ramp? Did it go elsewhere? Do we need to get police involved? That sort of thing. But sometimes it's not so simple. Like you can see cases which are really complex.
Mhm.
Lots of buffer wallets, what I call buffer wallets, which is just like wallets between wallets, if that makes sense. And
Yes.
then, you know, some of those wallets might be ultra busy, some of those might be really quiet. And then sometimes it's not easy to establish a link to an exchange. And then we go into things like relationship analysis between wallets and things to try and build an understanding of what's gone off and who potentially might be behind some of these wallets.
Oh, okay. So what's the most sophisticated scam you ever encountered?
The most sophisticated has to be, I would say, the Beanstalk exploit 2022. So that one was executed with such rigor and planning, and the execution was seamless. It was just
Oh.
like, it's crazy to say, but that guy was insanely good at, you know, understanding computer code, looking for exploits. I say guy, could be a group. I have an idea who
Mhm.
it may be. Can't share
Mhm.
that right now, but um, it whoever it was extremely close to the code, knew the code inside out, I would say. And yeah, it was incredible in a bad way. That was the most sophisticated.
Can you
$75
share?
million dollars.
Oh, wow. Can you share where the case is now? I mean, are authorities involved now and working on it?
Yeah, so the FBI. All right, so how it worked out from a timeline perspective, about a year after the exploit, so around April, I think it was April 2023, one of their community members approached us and said, hey, we got exploited last year, would love see if we could work out a deal for IOC to look into it.
Mhm.
So we started to look into it, but being a year later, those funds went, that 75 million went straight into Tornado Cash, which is a mixer.
Oh, uh-huh.
And so we manually analyzed a year's worth of Tornado Cash data, which took about 4 months
Mhm.
to do. Now, when we started, we already knew that the FBI had a task force going. And so they already had been working on it for some time with the team. Now, when we did the analysis, and you can see this on the website, the Beanstalk reports are up on there on the services page. There is a pattern that we call the significant ERE pattern, and the ERE basically means Ethereum to Rend BTC back to Ethereum. And we followed those funds through Tornado Cash onto Bitcoin, back onto Ethereum, going into various exchanges linked with certain people. Yeah.
This is fascinating. Wow. Okay. Well, we'll have to go read that on the page. I will definitely read it. I'm interested. And I want to know, have you ever confronted a suspected scammer, and how did that go?
I've, in one or two cases, so I do work in this as this alias as JP from IOC, but I also have further anonymous aliases as well, a little bit more provocative in some cases, and I have tried to approach some scammers, in that sort of guise, but it's you very rarely get a response back. I do know of people who have had responses back, but it's very few and far between, because the moment they make contact, that's additional information for the investigation as well. So, yeah.
I understand. So how do you know, like, I know everybody wants, if they've been scammed, to have the perpetrator go to jail and get all their money back, but is that realistic? And what do you use to measure your success? How do you know if you've done a good job or not?
Yeah, so as an investigator, there's only so much that we can do, right? We don't have the powers of law enforcement. We are not lawyers, but we can do a great job in terms of looking on chain. So when I'm first analyzing a case, I'm asking, one of the first questions, as mentioned earlier, was, what jurisdiction are you in? That's critical, because there's certain jurisdictions around the world that are more favorable than others. And I would say the US is in, probably top in terms of traction that you can gain. We've got contacts at like the FBI and, certain jurisdictions. We've got some great connections with other investigation firms. And if we don't know certain exchanges, we can get in touch with them through our connections. So the US is a great place. I actually thought that the UK would be better than what it is.
Really?
Yeah, again, it depends which region of the UK. So, if you're in London, you get scams, come speak to us. We've got connections with the head of cybercrime and things like that. So, and I would say that Europe tends to be okay. I would say in Europe, the thing that law enforcement struggle with is just understanding what is crypto and how does it work, and how have you got that? How have you got to where you are in the investigation? And the further east you go, I find that it's a little bit harder with law enforcement. Africa's basically a no-go zone, not, just in terms of the police have no resources to look into this sort of thing. They might even laugh in the face of the victim sometimes, figuratively speaking. But yeah, there's some jurisdictions like that. So, I mean, I'm looking at a case right now for a gentleman from Portugal, and, you asked about the measure of success. Well, if I can hand that information off to a lawyer, to law enforcement, and in this case, we have both lawyer and law enforcement, and the Portuguese equivalent of the FBI are, getting involved in this particular case. Now, in that particular case, we got a lot of information. Like, we infiltrated the scammers, and was able to get further information that helped tie accounts to different exchanges, and we managed to grab their IP address and all sorts of different things, right?
Right.
So all of that information gets bucketed into a well-written report, which can be easily followed by law enforcement. And then all they need to do essentially is subpoena the addresses, subpoena the exchanges to request more information. And then there's a whole list of information that you can get from exchanges. It could be potentially names, it could be email addresses, it could be IP addresses, it could be subsequent devices, it could be subsequent addresses. There's a whole raft of information that you can get from there. And then even if that information comes back and says, yeah, it actually goes out into the Bitcoin blockchain, and the police are like, okay, I'm struggling, don't know where to look. Well, we will work with law enforcement to help them analyze what happened next. And we do that for various parties around the world. So yeah, I would say measuring success for me is being able to hand over a well-written, validated report that captures all of the information that law enforcement or lawyers are going to need to push this forward.
That's great. And is it like the movies? Do they offer bounties or rewards if they recover the funds? Do you know?
In some cases, I mean, that's typically dealt with up front. So it depends. I had an offer the other week that came through from another company. It says, if you can help us figure out who the person is behind this, there's $500,000 that, up for grabs potentially. But there would be no payment up front for that, right? So there's risk to that from a business standpoint. So you've got to balance, we're not going to say no to, all of those types of cases, those contingency based cases. But if we take on too many, we run the risk of doing a lot of work and bringing no revenue in, right? So we do have to think about it like that. But I do know that, for example, the Beanstalk community, they were very gracious, and how they worked with us throughout the whole investigation there. And it was a case of, if you can return the funds, there's 40% there. That's 40% of 75 million. So
great. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's never going to happen, in terms of who I believe it is. And the fact that the FBI are involved, and this is a huge case. So right now, that's out of my hands. There's nothing else I can do on that front besides what we've done already. I mean, if we could intercept those funds, return them, and put those funds through a white hat smart contract that was set up, then we would get the 40%. But to get to that point is really hard, I would say.
Is it also hard because technology changes so fast, especially in this space? Is it hard to stay on top of security in the DeFi space?
I would say it's hard to keep on top of security full stop, not just in DeFi, not just in crypto.
Right.
We've seen American social media was down yesterday, right? For 2 hours.
Right.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So it's not just this space, but what I would say is, because, I mean, if you think about what's happened with crypto, before you had to be a qualified individual to invest in some form of stock or whatever it is, right? Some form of asset. What crypto's done is it's leveled the playing field in terms of anyone can get involved.
Right.
There's a risk to that, because those people who are now getting involved might not have the education of those who were previously, let's say, qualified to invest. I'm using the US as an example.
Sure.
So it's open to everybody. My concern is that in crypto, in Web3, there are more opportunities to lose money than there are to make money. I think, even though, you can become a millionaire overnight and all that, I've seen far too much in the space to realize that there's a vulnerability around every corner, whether that's your own personal wallet, whether that's your emails, clicking on links, downloading stuff. You know, it's a ruthless world at
Would you
times. So
say it's people being ignorant of how to stay safe, or are they just lazy? What's the biggest threat to people staying safe when they're trying to invest?
I think for me, there's a few different reasons. One is people don't know what they don't know.
True.
Unconscious incompetence, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all go through that at various points in our lives. If you're going through that, you're going to learn the hard way, unfortunately. Either you'll get drained, you'll ape all your life savings into a project which goes to zero. You know, we've seen it all.
Right.
So that's one, unconscious incompetence. But then I do know that there's people who are very competent and know about security. You know, I can think of some cases last year where people have been, for the most part, incredibly secure, but the fear of missing out kicks in.
Oh, right.
And then remember, these scammers are doing this all day, every day. This is their full-time job. They are professionals. They will get you, right? So they know that. They know how humans operate. And so they'll play on those basic human instincts. Those, like, FOMO is it's I would say it's subconscious, you know, to depending on when it happens and who it happens to. I think some of us are different, but I know when I've had it in the past, I'm like, get me in as fast as possible. Like, clicking the buttons, right? And that's because we want to get rich. We want to not have to worry about our bills. We want to be able to spoil our families and things. And we believe that crypto is the right place to do that. But the criminals also know that. So they, you know, they will play on that. Look at all these airdrops that happen. The ones that are legit, great. People make $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in an airdrop. But look at how, I mean, you might not see this, but one large airdrop will probably result in hundreds of fake airdrop websites, which are designed specifically to target you, the potential customer of, or the, you know, the recipient of this airdrop. And the websites will look the same. They'll look exactly the same. The URL, the link that you click on, will look almost the same. So they know, they're watching the space, like they are looking for the next opportunity. And you know what? People click it. People click the links. I've seen it so many times and will continue to see it, unfortunately, because I don't want to say, you know, I don't think people are stupid. I really don't. I think people may have like a lapse of concentration. They might be in a rush. They might be on mobile phone. Like there's not a lot of security on your mobile phone for DeFi. Like I think Wallet Guard's bringing out an app. If they haven't brought it out already. But you know, your phone is much more riskier than your laptop. Let's say. So, you know, I think there's sometimes lapse in concentration. You know, no one goes into the space wanting to get drained or anything like that. So I would say unconscious incompetence, lapse of concentration, and I guess the final one is that, you know, some people will know about some of the risks and just don't care as well. I've seen that.
True. Mm-hmm.
I've seen that.
So you're saying we have to stay vigilant constantly. We cannot just get lazy or click on things that, you know, might be safe or might not. Even if it's from a friend, I have actually known, because Alpha has trained me well. I will run it through different scanners. I'll drop it, you know, and make sure that I can at least do everything I can to make sure it's a safe link before I click it, because I'm so scared that I'll lose my tiny little bit of crypto. I'm not a whale or anything, but I think I'm fortunate to be surrounded by so many people who are so protective and cautious that it's taught me to be the same, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, so when I'm talking to people about this sort of thing in this space today, in Web3, whether it's DeFi, NFTs, ETH, Bitcoin, whatever, just stay paranoid.
Right.
That those two words, stay paranoid. If that's the one thing, you know, that I could drill into people's mind, that would be it. I was talking to my mom the other day, right?
Mhm.
She bought Bitcoin when it was starting to drop, last sort of the start of the last bear market, and she bought at like
Oh,
54,
good for
54K.
her.
And she diamond handed it through the bear market, and she's now back up. She's up now. So I said, Mum, you know, you've got a choice. You can either, it's up to you, sell now, don't buy any more right now, because, you know, I think it could go, there could be a few dips along the way, you know, before it potentially goes back up, you know, DCA, whatever the strategy is. But I also had a chat with her about some of the work that I do in the space, and
Oh,
even just like all of these attack vectors are crazy. But even simple things like if you find out who I am, right, and you was able to find my my social media, my IRL social media, you won't find any profile pictures on there that, you know, people outside can see, because even with just a photo of someone's face, you can find out who they are. You can find out where they live
right.
potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just, like I said earlier, it's not just in crypto. It's not just in Web3. You have to like take privacy really seriously, regardless of where you are in the world, regardless of what you do. Like I've got, like, my sister, she's dreadful on social media. She'll put a whole life story on
Oh no.
social
Right.
media, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
you know what? There's bad people out there.
Right.
If you wanted to be, if they wanted you to be a target, they could just study you and analyze you for some time, figure out what makes you tick, what makes you not tick, and then you're getting into the spear phishing realm. So it's a
Right.
scary world. It's a scary world out there.
It is. It's kind of scary because so many people can access information about you that you didn't intend for them to know. And if you're not careful, yeah, total strangers know everything about you. So let me ask you, how close are you to Batman? Do you have like multiple screens? Can you explain your computer setup? Just describe it. I'm curious.
Yeah. So I have, so I normally work at home anyway, IRL.
Oh, okay.
I've got two offices. One's
Oh,
for like daytime, one's for nighttime. So I'm in the nighttime office. That's not even a joke. I
you're in the
do.
Bat Cave.
Yeah. So each one, I've got two screens. I run off Macs. Well, one of the screens is Mac, because Mac's crap. But, you know, you can't have a split screen like you can on Windows. Well,
Right.
I'm sure there's a way, but I haven't invested enough time into it, to be honest. But
Mhm.
yeah, two screens. One of those ultra thin, flat keyboards that you can get from Macs, and an MX. What do you call it? MX. Master 3 for the Mac. So pretty neat, expensive mouse. Yeah, I've got a big screen. I love to work on big screens. Obviously, I'm looking
Mhm.
through code. I'm looking at charts and things. So I need a big screen to see some of the details. For my downstairs office, the daytime office, I've got like basically a podcast setup, which is microphones, cameras, and things like that. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean I'm in the back cave right now.
So wait, if you spend all day in your one office and all night in the other, how do you take time for your personal life and your family? I mean, how do you work that in?
So it's hard, right?
Mhm.
That's the first thing to say. I have an addictive personality. So for me, if I'm into something, I'm like 110% in. There's no middle ground with me. So if I didn't have a family, like a close family in my house with me, I'm pretty sure I'd just be working 18 to 20 hours every day, something like that.
Wow.
I
Because this is your passion, right? You love this.
yeah, and my normal job's pretty cool as well. So
Nice.
being honest, it puts a lot of pressure onto the family. I'm lucky in that my IRL job is flexible in terms of times and stuff. I've been pushing really hard there as well, so doing really well in that job. But
Oh, good for you.
yeah, I mean, it's hard. I wouldn't want
Mhm.
anyone else to go through it. It's really long days every day. But I see excuse me.
Mhm.
I see a future that is just a little bit brighter than the one we have today with with the work that we're doing in IOC. So that's what I'm pushing toward. So yes, very long, very tedious at times. But when you surround yourself with great people, my family are very forgiving at times. Sometimes it's really testing, to be honest.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's hard.
You work in a hard business, so would you say you're optimistic for the future then? How do you feel about it, and what's next for IOC and JP?
For the industry, if we just touch on the industry initially,
Sure.
I think there's a lot of potential. But I think if we rush too quickly, and for example, if we went into mass adoption right now, people would be getting drained left, right, and center.
Oh.
They just will. Just people just don't understand. Like for me, crypto should be as easy as posting a picture on Instagram. If you're just doing a trade or something. And in some
Right.
cases, some apps, we're getting close to that, but not DeFi. DeFi is too complex for a lot of people. So I see a lot of potential. I think regulation has to come in to a degree. And we've already started to see some of that.
True.
We're a member of Crypto UK, so I see all the work that the UK regulators are looking to do with the industry. Excuse me.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about the future of crypto. I think it's going to gain more support over time, but I see a lot of potential and a lot of risk as well. That's where my mind's at. Now, when it comes to IOC, as I mentioned earlier, I think we've got potentially a huge future ahead of us.
I hope so.
Yeah, but like I said, it's that bittersweet element again. That's what keeps ringing through my head. But that's why I want to push further and further with the IOC.
And do you have plans to grow the team and the connections that you use?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh,
So
great.
as soon as I can support even just myself full time into IOC, I'll be knee deep in crypto all the time. So I'll quit my job when the time's right. That's how committed I am to it. But with
Wow.
mortgaging things right now, it's you can't run that type of risk.
But you see it
With
coming though, right?
oh yeah, it's on the horizon, yeah, for sure.
Good.
So with Armored in particular, it's, the launch is coming up in Q2. We're getting closer to that now. I think there's a huge future for that. But as grown this business, I see it as totally my responsibility in terms of doing it in a way that's responsible and, doesn't have a bigger outflow than it's got inflow coming in terms of revenue. So a lot of the work that I do right now, I'm not asking any of my contributors to pick it, much up at all. I'm doing most of it myself because I'm trying to build up capital for IOC because there's a lot of things I want to do in the future. But once we start getting clients in, especially through Armored, I very much see that we should be in a position to take people on, to push forward and really make a difference in the space.
That's great. I wish you the very best. And I'm over in your server. I love it in there. I love your chain wrecked episode that you do every Thursday. And I just feel this is partly my responsibility in order to stay safe, but also I enjoy it. I think you have a great team over there. And I just want to encourage everybody to check out your website and just pop over and say hi. I think it's worth their time. Oh, yeah. I have one more question for you. Okay, so Various and I are doing this token pick challenge where we started in January, we're ending in April, and each week we pick a token that we think are going to do well in that time period, and it's kind of a contest to see which one of us is going to win. And we have a team guest. So would you like to pick a token, and it can be anyone, including your own, that you think is going to do well in the next few weeks?
Well, in the next few weeks, all right, it's going to have to be the IOC token. Now, what's interesting about it is there's no inflation or anything like that. Very much the principles of Bitcoin in a way. Everything was launched fairly. There's no influencers that's been paid. There's no tokens being given out to team members or anything. Even I had to buy my allocation. IOC had to buy its own allocation. So what you'll see when you look at the chart is we're up at, I don't know, we started about 30 cents. It's now about $2.50, something like that. But it's what you'll see is that, and what has blew my mind is that the community wants the buy-in. That it's like they hardly sell. It's like, well, can you sell? Make it a bit cheaper for me to buy, and no one's selling. So I think as we start to get more exposure and people realize some of the benefits of holding IOC in terms of you've essentially got our support on with you, and there's various levels of benefits that you get with that. I think we'll get more and more people interested in the token for sure. I love it. It's 21,000 supply. It's really low market cap right now. It's a roller coaster at times, up and down, and you can trade it real nicely. And I've traded it myself. So yeah, nice little token, I think. The only downside though is that it's on Ethereum and gas fees are high. So
I know. Tell me about it. I keep watching that like crazy, and it just keeps going up and up. I don't know if it'll ever go down, but hey, I understand you get a lot of exposure over there as well.
Well, that's the balance, right? It's when I decided to do the IOC token, it was a case of, okay, which chain? And this was bear market, or it certainly wasn't the volumes that we're seeing today. And I was like, yeah, Ethereum should be fine. And then boom, gas fees is like $60 to swap, and it's like, what?
Ouch.
Seriously? So, and then I've got a bag on Polygon, and it's like 2 cents. I'm like,
oh. So do you think you'll ever migrate to a different chain?
Well, interestingly, so I'm playing around with this theory in my head. So one of the things we want to do is I want to be able to support communities of projects that have been rug pulled, right?
Oh, nice.
Now, one of the ways that we can do that is, we could potentially request some crowdfunding from some of those victims, but they've just been rug pulled, so it doesn't feel nice to do that. But at the same time, we can't just ape in with all our own time, because it's we have families and things like that, and there's sometimes a huge amount of work that goes into it. So we actually have a series of tokens coming out in the future. It'll be past the Armored launch, and it will be across multiple blockchains, but the token's going to be called Solve, as in solve the crime.
Oh, I love it.
And the premise behind the token is purely community driven. So any of the proceeds that come from the trades of those tokens will purely be put towards the investigations of those community rug pulls, so they don't have to fork anything out. We're going to form a council of people who are going to be able to, make those decisions and or at least contribute towards those decisions in terms of which ones we go investigate, which ones we don't. So that is just like a little bit of, I want to say like gamification. It's not gamification. It's serious stuff, really. But I just feel as though there's an opportunity there, kind of like a GoFundMe, but with investigations, because I mean it could even be individuals. I've got some horror stories of people, I don't want to say, but committing suicide, and it gets to that point at times. And I feel as though if we could, like, if I was rich enough to be able to fund everything, I would. I'm that type of person, but I'm not, and neither is IOC right now. But I feel as though there should be a mechanic out there available that would allow kind of like a GoFundMe arrangement or GoFunders arrangement, in DeFi. So I'm playing with the idea, nothing's set in stone yet, but I think the mechanics will be real simple. And how that work, will have to be written down in a white paper and things. But yeah, something interesting I want to try.
I think you're going to see a lot of people get behind that. I know I would. I would love to have a tangible way to help these people, because when I hear about these rug pulls, I feel horrible for these people. I'm like, what do I do? And then you want to send money, but again, stay vigilant. You don't want to just send random people money. So this would be a great way where you would investigate a safe place that it could actually go to help the people that have been hurt, and also help your business as well. So I think it's a great idea. I'm looking forward to it. Solve.
Well, it's not just, I think it'd be really selfish of us just to say, it's only IOC that would do the investigations. Look, there's some really talented people out there. There's some amazing investigators out there who've done some great work, and some of them do it for free, right? So, I'm not adverse to, if there's a community vote in and someone comes along and says, hey, I could do this investigation for X amount, and it comes in lower than IOC's, why wouldn't we do that as well? If they're a trusted individual, if they agree with some of the terms that are on offer, I don't see any reason why not. And in theory, that's helping the whole space, not just IOC, not just the victims. It's helping out these people who donate a lot of their time to this sort of thing. So yeah, it's certainly an interesting topic, one I'm definitely going to be exploring.
Oh, I'm glad. And I hope you keep us updated, especially if we head on over and hang out in your Discord. Let us know how it's going.
For sure.
Thank you so much. I have enjoyed this chat with you so much. I've learned a lot, and it's nice to know a little bit more about you, because you are doing amazing things here. And I was just curious how it works and where you're headed. And I really appreciate your taking the time to chat with me today. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. I can't believe it's an hour already.
I know. This was a great one, like an AMA, but without, the awkwardness. It was easy.
Good.
Thank you. And I look forward to hearing what's coming next, especially with IOC.
Thank you. Take care.
Now, for games, remember, we are having a meme contest until March 16th. You can submit your Monstro-themed memes on any of our socials, Discord, X, or Telegram. You can submit as many as you want, but each person is only going to get one ticket. And what could you win? A special St. Patrick's Day NFT. The winner will be announced next week on the next episode of Monstro Mondayz. And Various has said that anyone who has a full set of those special holiday NFTs will get a chance to redeem them for something special. I can't wait to see what it is. So, all right, everybody, that's all the time we have for today. Remember, stay safe out there in the crypto Wild West. Do your own research. Be careful and stay vigilant. And we will catch you all next week. Until then, stay smiling.